Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lainey. Thank you so much for stopping by. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my first installment in my indie comparison / dupes series. So if you're interested in seeing that, then just keep on watching. Before we get into that though, if you're new here, please remember to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video from me. I do a lot of panning content, but also try to sprinkle in a lot of indie makeup content. So if you're interested in that, then be sure to stick around and let's get into this video because it's probably going to be a long one. All right, so I have been preparing for this video for so long, trying to organize my single shadows by color, which I usually don't do. I usually organize it by brand in that by color. So I've been kind of opening all my palettes, organizing my single shadows, and I am ready to start filming. I think today I'm gonna break it up between greens, blues, and purples. I just feel like those colors make sense together, and I have a lot of those shades, so I'm really excited. I did try to film this overhead, and I just didn't like how it's coming out. I think I much prefer like sitting down and swatching as opposed to doing overhead swatches. I just couldn't get the lighting how I wanted it to be. So yeah, I am in natural light, but I think there was just too much shadows overhead. I prefer to film these in natural light just because I like how it comes out, but also I just feel like when I have a lot of duochromes and multichromes, and I just feel like when I got my first multichrome, I was so disappointed in it because it didn't look like how it did online. And I think a big part of that is the lighting you use. Now you can make beautiful art, beautiful photography out of multichromes with different lighting, but for the everyday person who's not like an Instagram content creator or anything like that, like that's not the lighting situation you're gonna be in. You're gonna be in natural light most of the time, or even fluorescent light. So literally, I just have my window in front of me. It may change throughout the video. And then I've got my overhead lighting up above me. So that is all the lighting I have for this video. And I just wanted to show you guys these in natural light. I'm going to be sharing comparisons. Some of the shadows I don't have dupes for, others I know I do, or they're very similar. So I'll explain the color differences, any texture differences, and we're gonna hop right into it. So let's get started because like I said earlier, I know this is gonna be a long one. So I'm gonna start out with greens. So this is how I have the palette laid out. I've got more goldeny greens up here, then we go into lighter greens, silvery greens, and just kind of like true greens. And then I go into some more like tealy shades. I do have some more like teals and turquoises in my blue palette, which we'll do right after. But I'm just gonna get started. So the first shade I have to show you is actually probably one of my favorite single shadows of all time. It is Celesta from Divina. I have pan in it. It is gorgeous. It definitely looks like a green in the pan. Oh my god, I just elbowed my palette. But when swatch, it definitely comes more across as that kind of greeny gold, and honestly more gold than anything. Like I still think that looks green, but when I swatch it, you can definitely see the gold come through. So I still categorize this as a green. It's definitely, you know, it teeters the line. But this is pretty smooth. It's got some micro shimmer in it. It's got kind of like a brown base that flips to that greeny gold. It is absolutely beautiful and definitely a shade I think is more along the lines of workplace appropriate, more than a lot of other like duochromes, multichromes, indie shimmers. And this is one I would absolutely recommend if you pick it up. It is just gorgeous, like so pretty. Next up, I've got another Divina shade. This is Phenomenon from their Aurora Flare collection. Now these are extremely smooth in the pan. They are not flaky whatsoever. And they have no shimmer to them. They are a true metallic. This one, as you can see, it's got kind of a darker, well, it is a black base multichrome, but it's got like a dark green base. Dark green base with that kind of gold green flip to it. So definitely nowhere near, like I don't have a dupe for Celesta, but this shade definitely is much darker and much more smooth. There are no micro shimmers going through it. If you don't like textured shadows, this is going to be a good pick for you if you're looking for a multi-chrome. Also, because I am showing my nails so much in this video, I did paint them just for this video. Didn't do the best painting job, but the purple base is the One Wear from the Friends and Lights Lacquer collaboration, and then I believe it's the Aurora Unicorn Skin, which I hate that name, from Holo Taco. So that's what's on my nails. Next up, we've got Chromosphere from Divina. And I think, as you can see, there's a little bit of like an orangey brownness to this one, but it's still got kind of gold and green to it, and really pretty. Like, oh, I feel like that shows the shifts really well. You can see that kind of green to gold to like bronzy brown. And these, I feel like they just swatch for miles. Like, they swatch so pretty. I think you can kind of see that hint of brownness coming through. You probably don't need both of these, but this one definitely has a little bit of a deeper base, deeper green base, and then it's got that kind of bronze shift to it along with the kind of gold shift. And just like, oh, I love a post-swatch finger. Like, oh, it's so gorgeous. Now we're gonna go into some more lighter greens. So first up, I've got Orion from Divina. Now this one is much more flakier than the other shades I just talked about. This is more textured, it's got more micro shimmer in it, but at the same time, I feel like it smooths out really, really well to where it won't look super textured on the lid. Obviously, it's got some micro shimmer to it, but it's not gonna appear super textured on the lids, at least in my experience. Now the next two are pretty similar to this one, but I find that they're not as textured. So if that is something you're worried about, like I said, this one kind of smooths out, but even in the swatch, or like in the initial like finger swatch, these ones aren't really textured at all. So the first one I've got is Clematis from Glaminatrix. And then I'm just gonna try to do 2 in 1 to kind of speed things up just a little bit. And then I've got Courtyard from Cleona, which is one of their vibrant multi-chromes. So here's how they look on the finger. This is Glaminatrix and this is Cleona. Glaminatrix actually looks a tad textured, but I find swatched it is not so. I'd say just a hint lighter than Orion from Divina, but they're pretty similar and they're gonna look pretty similar on the lids. And then we've got the Vibrant Multi-Chrome from Cleona, which actually isn't so much of a dupe as I thought it was. This one is much brighter green, and then there's like a hint of like a pinky gold running through it, which I can't capture right now. But yeah, that is those are the swatches of those 3. And the last shadow I have in this row, I don't have a dupe for, which is really unfortunate because it's a brand I would not recommend you guys purchase from because they have made some questionable comments on Instagram regarding abortion rights. But this is Prismatic from JD Glow, which is so unfortunate because this shadow is so gorgeous. It is so bright with a blue shift. It is stunning. Like, oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. So now I'm gonna go into more like silvery greens. Then we're gonna move into more like green greens. I don't know. These are all greens. And I should say, I don't know if I already said it, but sometimes it's hard to classify multi-chromes. So I kind of tried to just look at them like kind of like head on like this, and went with like the shift that I could see there. So this one I don't have a dupe for, and I didn't really know where to place it because it could honestly be classified as a green, blue, or purple. I really am not sure. And so this might be entirely the wrong place to swatch it, but this is Shattered Stars from Terra Moons. And yeah, now I'm feeling this probably should go with the purple, so I'll probably move it to that palette. Now we're going into more of the true silvery greens. So this is Earthshine from Divina. Now this whole line, the Moonscapes, super textured. If you don't like textured shadows, like don't pick these up. They're not for you. Like I think you can kind of see just how chunky these are. I find you can smooth them out pretty well, but they're still going to show some texture on your eyelids. And I think you can kind of tell from the swatch. This is very much a silver with a green, like a green tone silver to it. Really, really pretty. If you like silvers, like this collection is gonna be so up your alley because there are so many like nuanced silvers. But at the same point, if you don't like textured shadows, also not for you. So now I've got two more silvery greens from Sydney Grace. So this one is mint chocolate chip, if it wants to focus, but it won't. Okay, there. So this is mint chocolate chip, and then this is cadet, which is just a hint darker. So they're definitely not dupes, but depending on how deep you like your shimmers, that'll probably affect your decision. So that's what they look like on the finger. You can tell they're similar, but cadet is definitely darker. So we've got mint chocolate chip, which is honestly pretty close to Earthshine. It's just a true metallic. And then we've got cadet, which is definitely darker. So if you like the look of Earthshine, I think mint chocolate chip would be right up your alley. These are not shimmery. These are just true smooth metallics. No texture whatsoever. Pretty typical of Sydney Grace shimmers. They're just very, very metallic. So yeah, they're kind of more of a thicker formula, but they are really, really pretty. Okay, I think I'm gonna fit 3 more on this arm, which will complete this row. These are more kind of standard green shimmers. They're not super duochromy. And the first 2 I have are from Sydney Grace. This first one is Green Mango. I don't know if you can still get this. I believe this was from the Danny's Dream Bundle. I don't know if that's still available. But this is Green Mango. And then we've got Sweet Sop, which is just like a nice medium tone, like green. Like when I think of green, like I think of this color. Super pretty. Yeah, you can definitely tell there's a difference between those two. And then lastly, we've got Rainbow Blossom from Divina, which I am currently trying to pan, but I'm not gonna try to focus my finger where I'm trying to hit pan. This is from Divina, like I said. And I feel like none of those are really dupes. The Divina one, this one is from their Candy Cakes collection, which I find to be one of their least textured collections. It's really, really pretty, not really a shift, just like a nice kind of true green. And then similar to the other Sydney Grace shades, these are just very, very metallic. They might look a little textured, but it's just kind of where I focused the pigment. So that is my first round of swatches. So yeah, lots of really pretty greens, lots of variation, not a lot of dupes, which I mean, that's great. Don't want a lot of dupes. I feel like the truest dupes might be like these 2, although they're a little bit different. This one's a little lighter, and then these 2 silvers, silvery greens, they're much more of a textural difference. My arm is already so sore from just like holding it up. I'm so weak, and I think I've decided, and because of just like how chatty I'm being, I think I'm gonna break these up by color. So today we're just gonna be doing greens, and then we'll do blues, purples. I might combine some of the categories where I don't have like a ton. We'll have to see, but I think this will just be like maybe an ongoing series I try to do every week, every other week until I finish them all. Okay, so now we're gonna go more into my shifty greens. So starting out, we've got Space Case from Terra Moons. This one I would say is more on the flaky side for Terra Moons. I've only used this once, so I can't like give like a full review, but it really does, like, I think you can tell, like, just smooths out. And this is very, very green, very bright green. It definitely has a hint of gold to it. Let me pull back out Celesta and try to compare them. Oh, Celesta no longer has a pan with how I swatch that. But here's Celesta. So Celesta is definitely more gold, but I feel like Space Case definitely has that goldenness in it as well. Then we've got M51 from Terra Moons as well. This one feels extremely creamy in the pan, and it also is relatively flaky. I did just add this to my pan of shadows, which I'm very excited for. So there it goes. It is, again, very, very smooth and creamy. Definitely smooths out to a smooth finish, no texture whatsoever. This is definitely a green with like more of like a purpley base almost. Definitely different from Space Case, but texturally very similar. They are a little bit chunky when you swatch them, but they smooth out absolutely beautifully. Now we're gonna go into some more like deeper greens. We've got Exosphere from Divina, which has a pan in it. I love it. It was not an easy feat because the Aurora Flares from Divina are very, very smooth. I feel like this one isn't as smooth as maybe some of the other ones, but still pretty smooth, and definitely still like a metallic shade. I feel like this maybe has like the least amount of shift, but I think it's just because the shift is like pretty close. It is that green to like a lighter green to like a blue. I think you can tell down here and a little bit up there. So really, really pretty. Definitely, I feel like, well, if you like wearing greens, is more of an attainable multi-chrome. It's not necessarily like a stark shift, if you know what I mean, like a pink to green. Like that's a pretty stark shift. Next one, I have one that's pretty similar. This is Patina from Cleona. This is the only deep multi-chrome, whatever they're called, black-based multi-chrome I have from Cleona. And this one as well is like pretty smooth. That's what it looks like on the finger. And so this one is similar, but I find the tone of green to be different. So it definitely kind of gets more into that blue, but you can kind of see this is more of a grassy green and this is more of like teal green on like a blue green. Next up, we've got Hemisphere from Divina. Again, this is like the past two. These are the Aurora Flares, so they are very, very smooth, not textured whatsoever. Very, very nice multi-chromes, especially from an affordability standpoint. I think from this one, you can tell it's not as shifty. It's more like a green gray. Yeah, it's definitely not as shifty in the swatch. I feel like maybe you might be able to tell more from my finger. It's kind of like a green to like a pewtery shade. Really, really pretty. Definitely not coming across like swatched out, but still a really, really pretty shade. I believe this is pretty similar to Gargoyle from Cleona. Next is a shade, I don't know again if it fits here and I might have to recategorize it, but this is Tool from Glam Shop. This is one of their turbo shades. Super pretty. It's like, I feel like it has a green base, which is why I kind of threw it in with the greens. Yeah, it definitely doesn't like have, I don't have any dupes for this in my collection, so it's just kind of here, but it's pretty textured, but I find that it does smooth out on the lid, and it's definitely more of like a sheer formula. It's not really like, it's definitely not opaque. It's definitely on the sheer side. Now we're going on, so I felt like I had a lot of shades that were like kind of like teals or turquoises that like were kind of green, kind of blue, so we're going into the more like green ones. First up, I've got the Shallows from Sydney Grace. So true to the other comments I made about the Sydney Grace formula, very, very smooth metallic. This one is definitely a unique shade in my collection. Like, what is this color? Is it blue? Is it green? I don't know. It looks more green in the pan, but now I'm looking at it and it's more blue. Definitely a standout, I think, from the Sydney Grace collection, especially considering they mostly have like neutrals. Like, I feel like Sydney Grace is known for being like a really good neutral brand. So yeah, definitely a standout shade from them. Really, really pretty. I don't use it nearly enough. Next, I have like one of my favorite shades from Cleona, and this is Heirloom. This is a vibrant multi-chrome. And again, it's like, is this blue? Is this green? I don't really know. My fingers are getting stained. So honestly kind of similar, but it's got more of a shift. And this one I find is pretty smooth from Cleona. It's not really textured in any way, similar to the other vibrant multi-chromes I've swatched. But yeah, it's definitely got more of a shift than a Shallows and a little bit lighter maybe. Next up, I have a shade from Copacetic Cosmetics, and this is called the Daily Rind. Definitely deeper and definitely a little bit textured in the swatch. I put this on my eyes once and I don't find it to be textured, but yeah, I think you can see now it kind of smoothed out, but it definitely has a little bit of a darker base to it. Let's see if I can fit the rest on my arm. Next up, I have the shade Zombie from Divina. Now, this is the original Zombie. They have another one now called Zombie Reborn. You cannot get the original Zombie anymore. The pigments are no longer available to Divina. So just keep that in mind, but I'm swatching it in case you own it as well. This is kind of like a deep green. You can kind of see where it's like, is this green? Is this blue? I don't really know. So that is the original Zombie. And then next up I have the shade Wizard from Glam Shop. This is one of their velour, I believe they're called. Really like gorgeous, like greeny blue. Maybe that's more blue, but I don't know. I feel like it's also kind of green. Really, really pretty. So I really like the velour shades from Glam Shop. They're not like the most sparkliest, but they definitely have some unique shifts to them without being super sparkly. I will say they typically stain, like my fingers in general are gonna be stained right now, but the velour shades in general I find do stain on me. Okay, I'm gonna just like do some swatches up here because I only have 3 left. So next up I have the shade Scales from Copacetic Cosmetics. So this is a deep green shade, and so we'll just do like right here. Yeah, this is definitely not more on the teal side. This is definitely on the green side, but I don't really have anything like it, so there's not really anything to compare to. Next up, I've got the shade Emerald Eyes from Sydney Grace. Again, same smooth metallic formula. I believe I got this in a mystery box from Sydney Grace. So we're gonna go like right here. So I would say if there's a comparison, it might be the original Zombie, but just like as a metallic instead of like a duochrome kind of sparkly shadow. If you can kind of see that. I don't know, I think that makes sense. So that is Emerald Eyes from Sydney Grace. And lastly, I've got the shade Mirage from Glam Shop. Now this is one of their marbled shadows, which I find on me typically stains and is definitely more on the flaky side of things, but you can often kind of smooth it out. So let's make a swatch. Ooh, that's really pretty. I haven't used this in a while. So I don't find, actually, let me pull back out Zombie. So it's almost kind of similar to the original Zombie from Divina. I feel like they're pretty comparable. If you're sad you missed them out, I think Zombie's maybe just a hint of a darker base. And what is this, Mirage, is more, it has a little bit more of a silver to it. But I feel like they're pretty close almost. So these are a lot of my green to kind of bluey green shadows. Let me take a look at my blue palette and see if there's anything I might also want to swatch. So this is a sneak peek of my blue palette. Let me see. No, I think, so these kind of more like bluey greens are gonna stick together because I feel like they're more similar than what I swatched here. I think I swatched more of the darker kind of ones over here. So just like looking at the shadows, I don't think there's anything I'm missing. So I think that will conclude this video. Okay, so that is all I have for you today. I really hope it was helpful breaking my shadows down by color. Like I kind of said in the intro, originally I was gonna have this be kind of like one massive video, and then I was like, maybe I'll break it down by like similar, or like blues, greens, and purples, and then do the rest of my shadows in another video. But I think just me sitting here and talking and describing the shadows and the texture, I think it makes sense to break it up by color because I can be pretty chatty. So I don't want this to be a super long video. So I'm gonna stop here with the greens. Let me know what color you'd like me to do next. I think I would like to do blues or purples, and then we can go into my more like warm tones, reds, oranges, pinks, yellows. those kind of shadows. I'm gonna do an iridescent one, just like compare iridescents all together. And then I'm going to do one on like my fun neutrals. So look forward to that. I may combine the like pinks, reds and oranges and yellows potentially. I think I may combine the reds and pinks and then oranges and yellows together just because I don't have as much of those shadows, but let me know what you think down below. I really hope you enjoyed. I really hope this was helpful. If you have any questions about these shadows, please let me know. I would be happy to answer any questions you have. What's really nice is that I feel like I don't have a ton of dupes, and when I do, they're more often like differences in formula, which is really great. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep sitting here rambling if I keep at this rate. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, leave a comment if you like down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.